I'm a big fan of Seinfeld. So many connections to everyday life, like the episode where Kramer gives some leftovers in a Tupperware container to a homeless man on the street. And when he comes back, the man refuses to give back the Tupperware container. Really funny episode. Oh, Tupperware. What an interesting product. Back in the 1930s, Earl Tupper, sort of a self-proclaimed inventor, got a job at the DuPont company where he worked with plastics. He was only there about a year, but he learned some of the tricks of the trade. And in 1938, he opened his own plastics factory. And he started to make plastic parts for gas masks used during the Second World War. Now, at the time, polyethylene, which had been invented by ICI in England in 1935, was kind of manufactured secretly. Why? Because polyethylene was used for insulation around radar cables, and they didn't want this information to get out. But Tupper had worked some with polyethylene at DuPont, and now after the war, when the material became more widely available, he decided that he was going to try to commercialize it in some way. And he experimented with different pressures, with different temperatures, different molding techniques, and finally found that he could injection mold polyethylene and make it into various containers of whatever shape he desired. And thus was born the Tupperware era, because he called his products Tupperware. And at first, these items made of polyethylene were sold in stores. And the fact is that they did not do all that well until one day, Earl Tupper got a call from a divorcee named Brownie Wise. And she had started her own little business selling Tupperware. She had heard of the Stanley Home Products Company, and this was a company that had come up with an interesting little scheme to sell various kind of products at sort of casual home parties. And Brownie Wise thought that this was really good, and she started to sell Tupperware and originated the Tupperware parties. She did well, and she thought that she would inform Earl Tupper of this. And he did, and he liked what she said and hired her and made her a sales manager. That was something almost unheard of that time. Women just didn't reach those kind of positions. And Tupper and Wise thought that this product would sell really well. Why? Because at that time, there were no real alternatives. What were women doing with leftovers? They were putting them into bowls and putting a shower cap made of vinyl or nylon over the bowl. But obviously the Tupperware containers were much better. They had a great seal, very much like a paint can, and when you sealed it, it would give out this burping sound, evidence that it was airtight. And the company did really well thanks to Brownie Wise. It became a worldwide venture. And of course, Tupperware is still with us today. Most of the items are made of polyethylene, which is a very safe plastic for food contact. And of course, Tupperware is eminently reusable. Just look around kitchens everywhere in the world, and you're likely to find Tupperware containers. Great items. So it isn't surprising that the homeless man on the street did not want to give Kramer back the Tupperware container. And that for today is our Cuppa Joe.